TikTok users doom scrolling their favorite app were shocked, dumbfounded, and every other appropriate word synonymous with surprised after they found out an artist sold what looks to be a box of literally nothing for thousands of dollars and got away with it.
Non vedete qui accanto è il mio autoritratto. È molto simile a me.
An invisible statue that doesn't actually exist for more than $18,000.
Technically, anything can be considered art, but this latest piece of artwork has people scratching their heads.
Someone just paid $18,000 for an invisible sculpture. It was created by an Italian artist, and yep, the sculpture does not actually exist.
It's beautiful, though.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is anything we want it to be.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
How can you buy an invisible sculpture? Imagine buying air for $13,000. Isn't that money laundering? No way you can explain this to me, not even spiritually. Our star of the day and will-be chief master of persuasion is none other than Italian artist Salvatore Garau, who has somehow wound up in the spotlight these past few weeks after news of him selling an invisible sculpture for thousands of dollars resurfaced the internet yet again. People on TikTok, Twitter, and every other social media platform have all been left stunned and confused as to how this could have happened, wondering if it was even possible to sell an invisible piece of art in the first place, and claiming it was all just a ploy by the rich and elite of society to launder money and escape the authorities. You see, a few years ago, artist Salvatore Garau exhibited and later sold his artwork titled Io Sogno, which literally translates to the words I am, and consists of an immaterial sculpture which exists as energy particles in a vacuum. So basically, nothing. According to the artist, his artwork must be displayed in a private room away from any obstruction that could potentially end up causing the invisible sculpture to tip over and break, or parts of it getting chipped off, cracked, and weathered. It also needs to be kept in an area that is about 5 feet long and 5 feet wide. Lighting and environment control are optional due to the fact that no one can see the work. So basically, please clear a space in the corner of your room, carefully place a stool with the appropriate dimensions right there in the corner, and then if you're feeling up to it, you can also put a lamp close by just to add some lighting to the sculpture. And after you're done setting up your amazing artwork in the corner, the only people who will be able to see it are going to be the elite and enlightened of society. And the rest of us peasants can only just keep on arguing about the existence of this imaginary painting or sculpture or whatever it is on the internet.
SpongeBob said, imagination. That boy sold you a bag of imagination for 18 bands. Not 18 cents, not $1.80, not $180. I mean 18 bands. Yeah, and I be struggling to sell somebody a pen. They be like, sell me this pen. I be struggling, but this man conquered life by selling air and imagination. Like, this man can literally sell water to a fish. Like, bro, you sold air. Air. Imagination. Yeah, I made a 9-to-5 struggling trying to figure out how to feed my kids. What the
According to the artist who argued that his sculpture is immaterial, meaning it either exists or doesn't exist in the mind of its creator and will-be buyer, he explained that the artwork was similar to a vacuum, since a vacuum is nothing more than a space full of energy, and even if we empty it and there is nothing left, according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that nothing has a weight. Therefore, it has energy that is condensed and transformed into particles, that is, into us. You have to admit he's making some sense here. Using this philosophy, that means anyone can own this fine piece of art, since basically all I have to do is believe it is right there in front of me, and that means it's right there in front of me in my mind, which also means anyone can own it. But then it gets confusing. Does that mean there are multiple copies? Did the artist just create a loophole where his work could be duplicated multiple times without his consent? I have a lot of questions. Since we can't physically see the paint painting, drawing, or sculpture, but we just believe it's there, how then can you convince someone that can't see it to pay for something that is literally and physically not even there in the first place? So this is just peak gaslighting at this point, because I can't see how someone can get persuaded or just blatantly manipulated into paying for something they can't physically see right in front of them. But then you can argue that that is the entire concept of online shopping, which for a fact works because there are reviews and you know that the product does exist and is coming from somewhere. But this art piece literally doesn't exist at all. It exists only in the mind of its creator and you interested in buying it. Isn't this a scam or something? Speaking about things that physically exist, if you enjoy watching videos like this with me physically sitting right across your screen talking for about 15 minutes or more into my microphone, you should subscribe. I post weekly videos talking about things happening in the art community and other things of that nature. If that's something you find interesting, just hit that little subscribe button and join the family. Understandably, most people will struggle to recognize an empty space as a legitimate work of art. However, the invisible sculpture was originally valued at 6,000 to 9,000 euros, which is around 6,000 to 10,000 US dollars, and ended up fetching 15,000 euros, which is about 18,000 US dollars at Italian auction house Aphrodite. The buyer received a certificate of authenticity along with a set of instructions. The piece must be displayed in a private home within a clear, unobstructed space measuring approximately 5 by 5 feet. This has to be a joke, because how do you receive a certificate of authenticity to prove that what you bought not only exists as nothing, but also comes with specific instructions to place it in your home or wherever you intend to display it, and that it being nothing, literally air? How is this even real? If I were the buyer, I'd give him invisible currency. This is the type of guy to sell refrigerators to an Eskimo. If you ever thought that art isn't used for money laundering, well then what do you say after this? This is called fraud. I suppose something like this was inevitable. After that $120,000 banana duct tape to a wall, it just cements, in my opinion, just how delusional and utterly moronic the modern art world has become. I can't help but wonder how he actually goes around convincing people to buy his art. Does he just walk up straight to them and read out a well-memorized sales pitch, or does he just make it all up as he goes? I'm genuinely puzzled and confused. This has to be a joke, right? Apparently this also isn't the only immaterial sculpture Salvatore has made, and after the massive success of the first sculpture, he decided to create 2 others since his work was now widely received by the general public and was genuinely appreciated by art enthusiasts and collectors alike. His next masterpiece was the Buddha in Contemplation, which he showcased in Milan, and as you will expect, it looks as magnificent as every other single sculpture he has made. He also posted a video showing what the final installed sculpture looks like so we can all appreciate its beauty. The sculpture I installed in front here above the white square space is titled Buddha in Contemplation. You do not see it, but it exists. It is made of air and spirit. It is a work that asks you to activate the power of imagination, a power that anyone has, even those who don't think they have it. Just as magic, songs, or prayers help us to see what we do not see, so even a title feeling is enough to make us view and perceive an existence. It doesn't matter whether it is visible or not. This form generated by thought is here now above the white square space, exactly 25 meters in front of the entrance to the Galleria d'Italia di Piazza della Scala in Milano City, Italy. Now it exists and will remain in this space forever. This guy, man. I genuinely need to have his level of confidence in my life. I believe I will go places. His video has almost 130,000 views and counting, with a large majority of people in the comments either making fun of him saying he was not a real artist or leaving snarky comments about his art piece saying they also had one at home and making fun of the art piece. I'm going to open a museum of nothing but invisible sculptures and charge admission. The artist, a hack. The buyer, a fool. The salesman, an intellectual giant. A masterpiece for the talentless. Oh boy, I certainly went into the wrong profession. Who knew I could have been a sculptor? Silly me. I actually thought that would mean you will have to know how to sculpt, not that you could just point at a space and say there is my sculpture. I guess whoever bought it never read The Emperor's New Clothes. Another one of his remarkable sculptures was installed at the New York Stock Exchange, and the art piece, which was titled Aphrodite Cries, also raised comments from people doubting the existence of any of his work. The art piece, like every other work of his, was marked by a white circle on the ground, which supposedly was where the artwork was installed for everyone to see. Under the caption of his video, he wrote a little poem for his art piece which explained its essence, thus giving it life metaphorically. You don't see me, but I exist, right above this white round shape. I am Aphrodite, an intangible sculpture made of air and spirit. Feel my absence, which is a true existence. Still don't see me, and yet I am here, in front of you, and I cry because I am beauty and love, which is disappearing. I am your name. Give me the shape you want. Make sure I don't disappear altogether. At least make sure that my name remains. If you feel my presence, it means that you too are present. You exist. Inside or outside of this shape, you are the same as me. You are Aphrodite. You are beauty and love. Remember, it's really simple. Maybe too simple. Tomorrow when you think of me, you will think of yourself. This man is such a philosopher and has an astounding way with his words. He's a poet. Now I see why people are indeed buying his work. He also made 2 other installations in Jerusalem and named them Love, Immense Love, to which he encouraged viewers to see past the emptiness and look with the eyes of your heart, because apparently the sculptures were 3 meters high and the shape was whatever shape you could imagine in your head as you think about the artwork. So if you think the sculptures look like Miku, then they look like Miku. If you think they look like the Mona Lisa with a turban, then they look like the Mona Lisa with a turban. Whatever wild imagination taking form is your head is literally what the sculptures look like. Of course, this has raised a lot of discussions and debates on various forums across the internet, with people questioning what can and cannot be called art. And while a lot of people label his sculptures as modern art, which they all shame for being ridiculous, nonsensical, and void of any logic, other people have argued that his art is an intellectual exercise to challenge the universal question of what art truly means. I found this comment quite interesting, and it also raised a lot of other comments on Reddit. I'm a very literal person, so saying it is a sculpture you can't see would mean it is a physical thing an artist sculpted that through some means is invisible. And I mean physically sculpted, not metaphorically or philosophically. To me, while I have come around to a lot of modern art, I cannot accept this as art, because nothing and silence are not this artist's creation or something he has harnessed on an empty stage, but something that is experienced personally by everyone almost every day. It's an interesting conversation starter, but it is not a product in which money can be traded for ownership of. This whole conversation of his art being real or not made Salvatore himself write a poem explaining the philosophy of his work. And for those of us who can't speak or understand Italian, the video has on-screen subtitles in English, making it easier for you to read and follow what he is saying.
Durante un intero pomeriggio, guardando foto al cellulare, sono incappato nella tua scultura che non si vede, ed è l'unica immagine che ricordo. Un quindicenne, senza volerlo, ha fatto una perfetta sintesi del mio recente lavoro. Quanto spazio abbiamo nel cervello per conservare informazioni e immagini? 1000 immagini si annullano, sbiancano nella mente. Tutti i giorni siamo affamati di immagini che neanche riusciamo a masticare e digerire. Resta il nulla. Ecco la materia che mi è stata congeniale per realizzare le mie sculture immateriali. così come lo è stata l'assenza del nostro essere carne e ossa dal consorzio umano dominato dalla pandemia.
The entire video is about 6 minutes long, so it's pretty short, and if you want to see the rest of the poem explaining his philosophy and his work, you should go watch the video on his YouTube channel. And while he poured his heart out in his video, people in the comments just replied saying he wasn't an artist at all. Some other people on TikTok use his art as an example that you can literally achieve anything by believing in yourself and letting nothing stop you from achieving greatness.
Remember our guy Salvatore, who sold an invisible sculpture? These are some of the lessons that you can pick up on self-concept. One, nobody has to have done the idea that's going to make you successful. Nobody had ever sold an invisible sculpture to get money as an artist. Okay? So the idea that you have, probably nobody has ever executed it. Probably you are the first. And just because you are the first to execute it does not mean that it is bound for failure. It could be the success that people are going to be talking about millennia to come. No dream or great vision has ever sounded logical. Think about selling an invisible sculpture. Like, what the hell? Like something you can't see, and the man literally got money for it. So none of your ideas have to make sense for other people. You are the carrier of the vision, and it only has to make sense to the carrier of the vision. Stop hoping and forcing people to understand your vision. It doesn't have to make sense to them. And finally, sell your idea. Sell your idea as if it's the greatest thing alive and on this earth. Salvatore literally gave a certificate of authenticity for something that cannot be seen. He said that it can only be conceptualized by the mind, while all this time, art has always been something tangible. Okay? Believe in your concept and sell your idea. He even gave the measurements of where this invisible sculpture is to be placed with the given parameters. Let me tell you, you have to be so daring enough and so bold enough to stand in the things which you believe in so that other people can follow. You are the one who charts the path. The other people are meant to follow the path that you chart. Remember, you are the creator. You are the arbiter of your own reality. For other people to trust in what you have, your self-concept has to be deeply rooted in belief in yourself and the vision that you have for yourself.
Now, while I don't necessarily believe in trying to sell an invisible sculpture like Salvatore, I do think this encourages us to believe in ourselves and to be confident in our art and every other thing we believe in. So far, Salvatore is still making art and sharing his work on his social media accounts, and aside from making art with his imagination, he also is a rather brilliant abstract painter and shares a lot of his paintings on his Instagram account. And for some rather funny reason, he's also being sued for plagiarism by another person who also made art of nothing and claimed to have invented making sculptures out of nothing. Salvatore is keeping his head up above the wavy waters of haters and is frantically kicking his feet up to stay afloat. So far, he hasn't made any other invisible sculptures, but I'm curious to know what you think in the comments. Do you think you can make art from nothing? Do you think his art exists? Or is it all just a bunch of nonsense and pig swallow and a way for rich people to launder money through art? Well, it looks like you've made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. With all that being said, I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.